So, we're back, and our next topic is apply standards and certifications to destinations and enterprises. And for this session, moderator is the one and only Mr. John Pappas.
Okay, so the last one and the best one, I think. Thank you for staying until now. It's the last one, and we think it's very impressive and very good one. We are going to propose to see 4 very nice case studies about standards and certifications. It will be nice to hear about this from very distinguished, very nice and very good friends. We have selected 4 cases, 1 from Greece and 2 from Greece and 2 from abroad, in order to make a mixture. There were a lot of thoughts, a lot of iterations in order to finalize the selection ones. So, we're going to have, like I said, 4 friends. The first one is Fivos from Pappas of Greece. He's going to present us a very nice, I think, case from Greece. The second one is going to be Albert and not Martin. Sorry, Martin, about being again in the last in the road, but Ioannis has to go to the airport. Sorry. So Albert is going to present us some example from destinations. So it's going to be, I think, a very good idea and very nice example also. The third one is going to be Vasilis Zisimopoulos from Crete. And it's going to present us a very nice, the results of a very nice research like we have discussed about. And it's about sustainability and how the, let's say, the people, the tourists have actually the feeling about sustainability in the destinations. And the last one is going to be Martin from TourCert that's going to present us some examples from TourCert activity. So, because we don't have so much time and I would like to finish and close this very nice event, I'm starting with Fivos. So, thank you, Fivos. I'm going to measure 15 minutes maximum.
That's so much time. Great. So, thanks. Ioannis, can you hear me? Yes. Okay, so good afternoon. This afternoon I'm going to present you a case study from Greece and especially the trails of Sifnos Island. Sifnos is a small island in the Cyclades in the Aegean, and we've been called about 2 years ago to reorganize the hiking trails of the island. Why? Because on Sifnos, many earlier attempts tried to show the trails of the island, but every attempt with its own philosophy, on its own way, and with different materials, that at the end resulted in confusing the hikers. Sometimes the materials would last a few months or 1 or 2 years. There was also signs only in Greek, sometimes pointing to the earth. We didn't know if they want to go to China or something, I don't know. And you see that some hikers took the initiative of saying, no, it's wrong. I guess that these hikers understood Greek, because that's already one step that you need to take. And then there was some umbrellas that were imposed on the trails of Sifnos. And what we have been called to do is to give a brand name, Sifnos Trails, to this island, and to reorganize the hiking trails in a way that it will be easy for the hikers to find the trails, to follow them, and to enjoy them. So what it did is that we have, first of all, created a network of trails. So we interconnected all the trails. We were based on the previous plans, but we tried to enlarge the trails so that they get interconnected and they form a network. And there's only a gap between the very north part and the rest, but there are some plans to connect it. So it became a network of 104 kilometers as compared to 60 kilometers, approximately 60 kilometers earlier. We connected the trails to the settlements so that people start from the village and not from a random place outside of the village where the trail starts. beautiful trails go along the villages on Sifnos Island and on other places as well. And you can also include some architectural walks. And of course, very important, because hikers might hike from point A to point B, I was referring to that earlier this morning, we connected the trails to the bus stops. So they can go to the beginning of a trail with a bus, if it's not very close to the place where they live, and then come back by bus at the end of the trail. The new network has a very well-organized way marking. First of all, we use paint, as you can see. And these are specific signs that on the leaflets or on the website, I'm going to show you later, are explained. And this is on all the trails. All the trails have the same system, so no confusion. And of course, we used on the important junctions some signs boasting directions with time, distances, and as I told you, pointing to the bus stops, etc., etc. Excuse me? Yeah, and this signage has been designed according to the quality standards of the European Ramblers Association, and even higher standards, actually, because we wanted to make sure that the hikers will not get lost. So, as a third step of way marking, we used big boards with all the trails on it. You might not be able to see it. It's the yellow lines on this map with all the trails listed to the right with where they start, how difficult they might be, etc., etc. So we try to facilitate the hikers. And on these big signs, you can see what I was telling you at the bottom, an explanation of the signage system. After finishing the infrastructure, we wanted to promote this island and its hikes. So we branded it. It has its own brand. It's called Sifnos Trails. It can become part of other brands, for example, in the Cyclades or in Greece, etc., but it has its own brand, and this is the strength of it. And the second step we took is to create a website that's inclusive and it's specialized for the hikers. So this website, αν γίνεται στην πρώτη σελίδα της αυτό. So this website, I'm going to just go through it quickly. As you see, we play a lot with the images to inspire hikers to be willing to get there with some powerful messages that are dropping. And you can see directly the trails, map, useful information, way marking, and 2 words about the project and Sifnos. So it's straightforward. If you go lower to the website, you might see some Google Tracker images. That's a very good marketing tool that we have used there. Photos, of course, for those who want to explore, and we have some photographers that inserted photos in that. Videos, we're going to see something later. We have a clear announcement of the Google Play application that we have created that's free to download and free to use. Of course, some mentions about our friendship with the Jesuolet Rail in South Korea. And if we scroll down, αν μπορείς λίγο κάτω σε παρακαλώ, you're going to see the video, and at the very end, at the very end, you can see us mentioning the sponsors and some other things about the weather, etc., etc. Επόμενη καρτέλα. So, when you click on the trails, we want to make sure that it will be easy for the hikers to decide which hike they want to pick. So we have a list, a first list with the trails. Scroll down, please. So you can see all the trails with one picture and the main information. Μπορείς να πας μέχρι τέρμα κάτω. So this is the trails, 19 trails, 104 kilometers. Πάμε τώρα στο φίλτρο, το kids friendly. And to facilitate the hikers, we have filters. So clicking, for example, on the kids-friendly filters, it will make a filtering and show to the hiker the hikes that are for kids, that are easy to hike as a family. Or if we click on the, I don't know, the long trails, αν μπορείς να πατήσεις το long, σε παρακαλώ, it makes again a filtering. So this facilitates the decision. Next tab, you click on one trail, and then you will see, of course, beautiful pictures of this trail, not always with clear skies, sometimes under clouds, because this is the reality. You see all the technical details of the trail, of course, the starting point, the main sites, if there is any bus connection, what are the connections to other trails. If we scroll down a little bit, you will get a professional hiking map. If you zoom in, you will get even more information, a text describing it, a possibility to download a PDF file or a GPX, and of course, the Google imagery of the trail. Άμα είναι εύκολο να γυρίσεις λίγο την εικόνα εδώ, yeah, you can see how it looks like, so you can virtually actually hike on the trails of Sifnos. And of course, some tips for the visitors of the website. Πάμε στην επόμενη. Here we have some useful information, categorized, so people can see when to hike, how to get to Sifnos, how to move around by bus, etc., etc. Πάμε και στην επόμενη. As I told you earlier, the way marking, we explain it so that people know how to follow the signs. And at the end, we have, we already saw the Google Tracker imagery. As I told you, you're invited to explore the beautiful scenery of Sifnos by visiting our website and virtually hike while sitting comfortably on your sofas. So, πάμε στην παρουσίαση. After the website, as I told you, we created an application that is a digital guide for the hikers. So you put the application in your pocket, you have an offline map, you don't need any internet connection, and as you hike, if you pass near an interesting spot, the application will ring, you can take it out of your pocket and read information about this site that you're passing by. So it's a digital guide. It helps you to hike and to explore the area. It has been rated quite highly, as you can see, on Google, on the Google App Store. An App Store is, I think, the iOS. Yeah, Google Play. Yeah. And we have also used QR codes for those who do not wish to take the application. They can have a simple QR code reader and you just, they can read information about different sites. Έχω φτάσει 9.30, πολύ καλά. So, other things about the promotion is going to international hiking fairs, having a leaflet that, like the one we present outside, Google Tracker, as I showed to you, friendship trails with other internationally friendship trails with other places in the world. And of course, we instructed the hotel owners of Sifnos on 5 different categories. I was again speaking about that in the morning. They know now what are the trails of the island, where they start, what is the equipment that is needed, and some hotels provide equipment to the hikers. Sometimes they provide food for picnics, etc. Services like bringing people at the beginning of the trail or picking them up from the end, and infrastructure like where to hang your wet clothes or how to get into the hotel without your dirty boots. And of course, on Sifnos, we track the comments from people on TripAdvisor. You can see it's rated one of the top activities, if not the top activity to do on Sifnos Island. And the local people have started walking because of these trails. And of course, I need to mention that all these trails are managed by a local team at the same time. And one of these examples is the video that we're going to see, excuse me, right now. It's a short video. I might cut it before it ends. And it has been created by the locals. Οπότε το βίντεο αν είναι εύκολο. I want you to see something very specific on this video and to comment it later at the questions. If there is then the busy. Τέλος? Okay. Okay, so the video will not play for some reason. It was there waiting all day, but yeah, we didn't achieve. Anyway, so yeah, it was a video that was, in my opinion, a very good attempt from the locals. The locals also ran part of the web page that you saw. Local people also ran the Facebook page of the project. And local people also produce the signs that you have seen that we installed. So we try to use the local power, the local manpower, as much as possible so that it belongs to the locals. It is not infrastructure. Trails are not about infrastructure. Trails are about tourism, and about an authentic experience. So this is how we are looking at this project, Sifnos and other projects in Greece. Μου λέτε κάτι από πίσω ή... Όχι, εντάξει. Okay, so, and with this, I'm going to offer a few more minutes to the next speakers. Thank you very much.
So, thank you very much, Fivos, also for the time arrangement. So, let's continue with Albert. Albert is coming from the Green Destinations. You have probably heard about this in another panel. So, Albert is going to present us a very good example, I suppose. So, please, Albert, you have the slides.
Okay, thank you very much, Ioannis. I'm going to elaborate a little bit on the, this is again the wrong introduction, on what I told you yesterday about the Green Destinations system. It is the Green Destinations system and program focuses mainly on destinations. The main aim is to make destinations more aware, more transparent, but also making better business with regard to sustainable businesses and considering the destination as a sustainable business in which the businesses and, can I have another slide? In which the accommodations, attractions, activities, trips, tours, service providers, like also where you can have your meals, your dinners, your lunches in a sustainable way. But we think that certification and transparency is not enough to make it work. We must make it a business model. We must make sure that those, whether it's at destination level or even at regional level, but especially at business level, the business players in the destinations will get a business advantage. They'll be making better business, like Rika said, at least 10% more. I think we should make sure that it's going to be at least 20% more better business for green operators. People offering actually to consumers a green product, green services. This is two elements of my presentation. A little bit more about the solutions to make it work, to make it a business, but also it has to be credible, so using the GSTC standards, and also transparent, and then see how to make it, how to see it makes a business. So, very brief introduction to what is our partnership. It's global. It has 50 different NGOs, companies, partners around the world. In Asia, we have an MOU, close cooperation with the Asian Ecotourism Network, and we have recently signed an MOU with Sustainable Travel International for strategic cooperation. We are a global partnership only existing for 2 years now, and we have partners in 30 countries, and together with them we assist destinations in becoming more sustainable and building this Green Destinations network. It is a network of 75 destinations. Just let me see, is this the right presentation? No, it is, yeah. It's partly the same as yesterday. I'm sorry about it. I think there is. The basis is the Green Destinations standard, and it's allowing destinations to not only to be certified, but also to have pre-certification recognition, to be awarded for a certain progress towards certification. And we have it operated within our own Green Destinations network with partners, but also the Quality Coast program that some of you will know here in Greece is operating the same standard and working along the same lines. In Slovenia, with the National Tourism Board, we work in the Slovenia Green program, again with the same standard, same criteria. So same award system also with the bronze, silver, gold awards as pre-certification stages. So working towards becoming fully sustainable. And our partners help these destinations in training, capacity building, through consultancy, and preparing for certification. Of course, it's the largest destination network in the world in this way, and it's represented by ambassadors. So in each destination where we work, we ask the destination to have 4 or 5 ambassadors from the local council, could be the mayor or so vice mayor for tourism, somebody from destination marketing, somebody from business sector, and somebody from civil society, could be NGOs. And this is how it works. So we have destinations in a country like Greece. Each of them asks at least one ambassador. So in your case, it would probably be Athena herself to be your ambassador. And the interaction would be between your ambassadors and the representatives of the Green Destinations programs. We created a platform, a database with a platform for assessment, and we have trainers and auditors that can directly be in touch with your ambassadors and with the important people, stakeholders in your destinations. So again, I quickly go through, because I introduced this yesterday, we have this approach of assessment using thematic elements, really interactive with the destination. We have a database that is informing the assessment with a lot of information about qualities, about the status, about the situation, and trends in all these qualities. So is the destination becoming better in nature, in culture, in social issues, and in environmental issues? And that is resulting then into thematic scores, into sustainability scores, ratings. But there is a lot behind these ratings. There is actually 100 destinations criteria, 100 destinations indicators that are sourced by destinations, but also in this way by a standard, but also in many other ways. The destination is getting the opportunity, by participating in this system, to work on a platform that's created by ECAT. It works the same way as the Travel Life platform, but this works with 100 criteria for destinations, helping the destinations to have a self-assessment and a sort of interactive way to assess themselves, and then to have an auditor that actually judges whether the compliance to the GSTC criteria, because that's basically what they are, is sufficient or not sufficient. But there's more than only interaction with destinations. We use a number of databases and ways to access big data to actually source our database. And we have, for example, so far managed to get neutral, so third-party provided data on 60,000 destinations. Basically, actually all destinations in the world. So at country level, at regional level, provincial level, local level, all these data and these trends on land cover elements are sourced. So we can say everything about urban development, deforestation, increase or decrease of your nature, how it goes with your water bodies, with your cropland, with your any element of your destination. We know more about your destination than yourself for these kind of indicators. We have also third-party data for less destinations, in the case 1200, for nature, culture, tourism, culture and tradition tourism, environment and climate issues, and visitor review data. And we have social and security indexes. So in principle, we are able to make these kind of thematic ratings on nature, on culture, on social, and sustainability ratings actually in every destination, even where we did not work so far. So we could make a world map of qualities and sustainability for every destination, every 60,000, with big data. The system is there to inform destination managers. So with all these sources, we can advise destinations, inform destinations in the various elements of their work, whether it's marketing or monitoring. But also it provides a wealth of data that can be communicated towards a traveler through intermediary business partners. And TUI is one of them, TUI Benelux. Book Different is already presented this morning. And there is more that use our data and information to inform their clients. This has been already presented yesterday or this morning by Book Different. We have now sure. We have now a new phase of the cooperation with new business partners. And we're starting with the top 100 Green Destination Network to make green travel maps. Green travel maps are a new concept with a provisional name, because maybe the word green is not the best one, to identify the holiday offer that makes a destination special and attractive, and also responsible, green and typical. 100% of what Xavier Font told us this morning will be implemented in this system. Will be completely along these lines, and also incorporating all the conclusions from what Monica told us this morning on Book Different. The conclusions on the survey will all implement this in this system to make sure that we make use of the most recent insights and thinking about how you should communicate with the consumer. So we will use on the Green Travel Map destination information, eco-label information, so all eco-label accommodations and services will be included, and responsible green and typical holiday offer collected by Green Destination ambassadors from the destinations themselves. So first small pilot has been going on in Saarland for a while, and we're focusing all elements of this green offer. So from how to get to a destination, how to get around to a destination, how accommodation is playing a role there, and for each of them we measure how social and how green they are. This is an illustration of what in Saarland is the green offer so far certified, but we will go beyond the certified offer because it's too few. Offering Saarland to consumers with only this offer is too little. This is basically accommodations and 12 restaurants, so it's not enough. We need ways to identify elements in a green offer that are not yet certified, but hope to encourage them to become certified later. So this is how we're going to do it. We're going to identify businesses and services on a number of criteria, not yet all GSTC criteria, but with a smaller number as encouragement for them to think about next steps towards certification. Accessibility is really important for public transportation, for disabled people, authenticity and cultural experience, care for environment and climate, hiking and biking experience, nature and wildlife experience, and safe and socially responsible. So these are the criteria to identify the green offer. So they go beyond the GSTC criteria, but they will be measured on a much lower level, not certified, but the ambassadors in the destinations will make this selection. So two more pilots. One is Sicily, where this is illustration for the nature thematic map. So we will try to enable travelers to say, okay, why would you go, if you would go to Sicily, would you go for the cultural experience or a nature experience? If people choose for nature experience, you get this kind of map. So what are the provinces, the large destinations, which are more interesting for nature travelers, the green provinces, and the dark green is the national parks, nature areas. And you also see the hiking symbol activated, because that's when you click where it's top hiking places are there. So all the map also shows you with the icons, the markers, where you can actually book your accommodation or where you book your hotel, which is an eco-labeled hotel. You can also add, okay, I'm going to go bird watching. So what are the bird watching areas? You've got this. This is actually to show you that every icon will be illustrated with information and a picture. And this map also adds top snorkeling areas. So you go for snorkeling areas, these are the top snorkeling areas, then you can select that very, very easily. You want to snorkel, of course, in clean bathing water, so it's easy to show where the clean bathing water areas are. Last pilot is Ioannis. It gives another element, another aspect of the green travel maps, because it's not only a map, it should actually become a very attractive system to encourage people to visit a green destination for its offer. So we have in this case, Ioannis and Northern Sporades Marine Park as a pilot for Greece. It is Quality Coast Award Gold already for years, and it has been twice in the top 100 sustainable destinations. This is to give you a quick overview of what you can think of. So why go to this place? Well, it's 100% Greek, it has everything, this place. It has culture, nature. It has declared war on plastic bags last year. Of course, apart from that, it's the most sustainable destination in Greece so far identified. How to get there? very important one because of the carbon footprint. You might go there by fast ferry. Actually, we will also give you the carbon footprint of that travel compared with slow transportation like island hopping, but bigger ferries. So we're going to give you tips on what to do. For example, early morning, go with a responsible fishing trip. A morning walk. So what are the best places for hiking? I showed you that also on the Sicily example. When you get your morning coffee in a restaurant, that is really very, very responsible and not using the plastic spoons that we are using these days. So they would have a guarantee to be checked also that they really provide you with a green offer for that, which is good for that place. Do good. What kind of do good things can you do on that place? For example, be involved in a beach cleanup. Or, well, what to do for outdoor lunch? Well, we give you a place that is especially responsible according to our criteria. So another lunch place in the old town is, of course, do more good, is help the MOM to save the monk seals which have a recovery place there. And, for example, also diving, snorkeling. We would give you the best diving school that is complying to all the necessary criteria to have a responsible experience as a snorkeling and diving fanatic. Of course, chilling and going to do nice things after all these businesses also, where we could give you, this is the place to go, and the municipality would have to give a guarantee that that water is clean. So there's commitment from destinations and business sector to make sure that the green travel map is credible and working. And then in the evening, of course, in that day, you would have a traditional food and music place, also again, compliant to all the criteria, to make sure that you have a great day or great days or week in any place that participates in this program. Thank you.
Thank you, Albert, for a very impressive presentation. Alonso, I suppose it's a very great destination. I don't know how many have been there. It's a great place. So Vasilis is next. Let's see a very nice, let's say, survey and results about sustainability. So.
Okay. Hello. First of all, thank you very much for being here. I'm going to present Costa Nostrum. Costa Nostrum means our cost. It's a very new certification standard for sustainability, sustainable management and development of Mediterranean beaches. The problem, more or less, we're all familiar with the problem of the beaches. Habitat destruction, substandard beach waste management, use of unattractive non-ecological equipment, pollution of costs, overpricing of goods, poor service provided by the beach operators, especially in Greece. Beach access to people with special needs is almost prohibited due to lack of proper equipment, improper and not well-maintained infrastructures. Beach visitors may exceed the carrying capacity of a beach. The solution: an original and innovative tool, a management plan for the establishment of a beach as a sustainable beach, a certification standard for measuring the degree of sustainability, and the third one, a portal which are informing the tourists about the characteristics of each beach, of each awarded Costa Nostrum sustainable beach. The innovation. First of all beaches, whether they are organized or not, public or private, can potentially be characterized as Costa Nostrum sustainable beaches. International promotion of sustainable beaches, evaluation of the standard and of each beach by the visitors through a questionnaire, promotion and recognition of local traditional products, engage directly and indirectly the local institutions and the wider society, emphasize in all three pillars of sustainable development, and finally, calculation of the carrying capacity of each beach. Has a clear weighting, scoring, and classification of the beaches, depending on the service provided and their characteristics. We start for 40 degrees until 100 degrees. And the benefits. We have environmental, economical, social protection of the environment, for example, for environmental, sustainable waste management, protection of and conservation of protected species, In economical sector, increased income for the beach management entity, creation of new jobs, increased other types of tourism such as ecotourism, and in social promotion and conservation of the quality cultural characteristics of its area, increased satisfaction of bathers, better service quality, better control of coastal area business and employees, etc., etc. Our achievements. First of all, we are among of the 25 winners of total 2,100 participations in a national innovation competition, EGG, which was organized by Eurobank in 2015. 4 public beaches awarded as Costa Nostrum Sustainable Beaches in Crete. 1 private beach awarded as Costa Nostrum Sustainable Beach was Kadia Maris Resort and Spa, the hotel in Crete. Same positive results in public and private beaches. We have run 2 surveys with more than 2,000 questionnaires answered until today, and the increase of satisfaction of the awarded Costa Nostrum Sustainable Beaches visitors. We are going to see the results from our second survey. You can see the exact number of questionnaires is about 1,368. First of all, you can see the level of education, how many hours do you stay on the beach, the satisfaction level of the bathers for every characteristic of the beach, and how important was the project that we ran to these beaches, if the people, the bathers are satisfied from what they see, if they know it, if they want to continue, etc. 81% say that it's important or very important. Also, the same questionnaire was in a hotel, so we asking the people how much important was the beach certification for choosing a hotel. 82% saying it is important. Also, we asked them if they have to choose between a hotel with lower price but no certified beach with a hotel with a certified beach but more expensive. They say that they will prefer the expensive one but with a certified beach. And the acceptable extra cost is something, the biggest is about 5 to 10%. Also, we asked them if they want to have more improvement to the beaches. They say yes. And 76 of them are willing to pay an extra fee in order to have an upgradation to the beach. In the last one, you can see for what, to pay about what. For example, the most famous was the quantity of infrastructures like changing rooms, showers, etc. Eco-friendly beach equipment, existence of local products, quality of infrastructures, Wi-Fi on the beach. In our days, it's very important. The most of the bathers want Wi-Fi on the beach. If they were answering no, why they don't want to pay, we were asking them to tell us the reason. The most of them was saying that they don't think that they have to pay. But if the people who said yes, how much are willing to pay? About half of euro or €1 and more is acceptable fee. How would you like to pay this extra cost price? The most popular is with increase of the prices of the hotel rooms or beach equipment. We asked them if they would recommend the specific beach to a friend. Yes, they would recommend it. We had also a total rate of each beach. Kytroplatia, to tell you the truth, if you visit our site, it's the less sustainable beach for us, but for the visitors, for the bathers, it's the best beach because we have different kind of standards. We have very specific standards. They thinking about the environment, they thinking about the quality of everything. Also, 200 people write more extra comments on our questionnaires. We had more extra comments. You can see the gender, the level of education, and the percentage of extra comments per bit. And you can see also the percentage of comments per category. So the most of them was about infrastructures. There is a problem with the infrastructures. They want better or cleaner or whatever. And we had also about the value, the safety. We had also some positive comments. For example, the beach is very beautiful, a good job, etc., etc. And the country of origin, the most of the people who answered, who wrote the extra comments was from England. And that's all. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Vasilis. Thank you for the results. Of course, you can find the whole results from this survey in your site. Not yet.
Very soon.
Okay, so you can find it in our presentation in the system that you are going to download in the next few days. So finally, let's hear Martin. And thank you for being the last, but not the least. Thank you, Martin.
I hope you don't feel like a déjà vu now. It's again at the end of the day and I'm here again, so I try to make the best out of it. I try to stick to the 15 minutes, okay? So don't worry about that. I will not talk too much about TourCert certification, but try to give you some examples of our work now, with the main focus of the supply chain, because that's one of our main issues. And I think at the beginning, we have to think again, why are we actually doing this, right? I mean, we've heard a lot of examples today and yesterday about sustainability, sustainable tourism. But what are the main pillars? What are the fundamentals actually why we're doing this? And I believe that this is the answer. I mean, last year, we had a global framework about sustainable development, yeah, the Agenda 2030 with the 17 Sustainable Development Goals. And we as TourCert, and I think we can speak for most of the certifiers here in the GSTC network, we believe that we are ambassadors, yeah? Ambassadors to translate these sustainable development goals to the businesses, to the areas where we are working at. This is a global framework being implemented by nationalities, and we have to put it into practice. That's one of our missions, and we believe that we have to stick on that. And to be more clear, we have to focus on some goals because we won't be able to implement all of them. I mean, we have a certain task. This is tourism. And goal number 12 is a very important goal for us. So let's keep this in mind. Goal 12B is directly linked to tourism, saying that we need a transformation of sustainable tourism. It's written down there. And how do we do this? Through changing the consumption and production process. And this is what we try to do. And how can we do this best? Of course, we need to take a look, where are we working at? Of course, TourCert is working with organizations, right? Businesses or DMOs, when we take a look at destinations. So the organization plays a big role, but the organization itself has limited impacts, yeah, or influences or whatever, or sticks to business activities itself. We have to take a look further. And there we go to the suppliers. Businesses, tour operators, in special, they work a lot with suppliers. They need suppliers. Their main goal is to have a working supply chain because they are selling products which are dependent on the supply chain. But that's not it, right? I mean, of course, you could say, fine, we have the organization and the direct suppliers. But tourism is more than that. Tourism is an interlinked branch, you know. We need to take a look at all of the affecting sectors here. Affecting sectors, I mean, we have to take a look at politics. How is politics doing there? How is economy doing as a whole? How is the environment at all? So there is a big issue here, a big responsibility on each business, right? Sticking to the business itself, to its suppliers, but also to the affecting sectors of the business. So this is a small introduction. I would like to give you 3 examples now. If you take a look at tour operators, if you just would stick to the business activities, of course, would be quite easy, right? Take a look at environmental issues within the business, social issues within the business, the employees, and so on. Good thing, but that's not it. Because we might have a big influence on the change of the business, but also the impact is quite low, yeah? Because it's just the business itself. That's why, and that's the reason, because of the impact, that's the reason why we have to take a look at the whole value chain. And I'm talking about the value chain of the customer journey, yeah? And especially tour operators have a responsibility to take a look there. They also have to know how can we make transportation more sustainable, a big issue. How can we take a look at our incoming agencies, take a look at our accommodation providers, guest information, and so on. So there's a big value chain behind that. Our goal is to influence that. How do we do this? We cannot just say, you have to be sustainable. It's not working out. We need an open, transparent dialogue with these stakeholders. And we need an evaluation of the value chain. And that's one of the main goals of a certifier, I believe, yeah, to be transparent and to actually support the organization in making the supply chain, the value chain more sustainable. So we need an impact assessment. And I think that's quite handy when you have a certifier behind, because we as TourCert, we provide the tools, the instruments of guaranteeing a useful, robust impact assessment of the business. How do we do this? We make a business evaluation, of course. I mean, we need data of the business anyways. We need economic data. We also need data about customer satisfaction, which hasn't been said quite a lot in these last 2 days, is the interlinkage between quality and sustainability. Yeah? We always say sustainable tourism is an aspect of quality tourism. You cannot divide that. So we need to know how the customer satisfaction is in order also to evaluate sustainability. Same with employee satisfaction and environmental assessment, of course, and also the community involvement. But then, if we do this, we have a nice system of the business, but as I said, that's not enough. So we need internal evaluations and other surveys as well. We take a look at the product. The product is the main issue in every business. There has to be a product evaluation, definitely. There also has to be information of how do you actually translate it to your customer. How does the customer perceive it? You need information about that. You need more information about your employees, and of course, also about your impacts about climate change. We've discussed this today. So what we do, we have a very quite intensive CO2 calculation behind that. And then we need external information, because that's still the direct stakeholders. And when it comes to tour operators, there needs to be a dialogue, as I said. What we do, we ask the tour operator to step in and do a dialogue with their stakeholders. So they need to ask all of the stakeholders what has been done in concerns of sustainable tourism. So we're talking about partner agencies, accommodation, tour guides, and other business partners. This is just an example of how we think we can step forward and provide a platform for dialogue and for transparency in terms of tour operating. We do this through a standardized evaluation. That's how we think we can make assessment best. We need standards, we need the criteria behind it, we need evaluation tools. Nowadays, it needs to be online, of course. It needs to be, needs to look good. You have to feel good when actually putting in data. It's very important. assessment is not fun, you know, it's not fun. It's kind of annoying. So we have to make it fun through our tools, through our system. And then we are talking about stakeholder management. So what we do is we demand that each business has to take a look at each stakeholder, has to do stakeholder management. I mean, that's key when talking about sustainability. Who are the stakeholders that have an influence on the business, and who are the stakeholders that are influenced by the business? That's very important. We need sustainability commitments. Every business, when talking to stakeholders, also has to commit or has to have a commitment by the stakeholder. So how do we do this? By supplier code of conduct, for example. This could be one way. We actually demand it. So there has to be supplier code of conduct with every supplier if you want to be certified by TourCert. So that's one example how we think we can make the supply chain more sustainable. When talking about tour operators, that's the key issue because if not, then the impact just will be too low. 5 minutes, okay. Another thing we found out is even though we have the dialogue, the partners of tour operators are mostly far away, right? And limitations are quite high. Limitations of influence are quite high. So we have to link the supply chain. We have to link the source markets with the target markets. And that's how we started doing projects in the target markets, mainly now focusing in Latin America. Skip that. How we do this? We do it through training. We have to provide training, educate, also provide auditors in the target markets in order to be able to actually certify there. So we are quite active there right now. And we need strong partnerships. We at TourCert, we are very happy that we found a very strong partner in Ecuador. Ecuador is a country which is now very active in sustainable tourism. And let's put these numbers beside. I mean, we will certify 250 businesses, that's fine. But I would like to give you information about why Ecuador is going to be very successful, because there's a committed political framework behind it. Ecuador actually has a new strategy now and is focusing on sustainable tourism, and this is being done by the Ministry of Tourism, by the federal ministry. So the Ministry of Tourism is actually training own employees in order to be qualified, taking a look at the businesses in its country. So it's done on the highest level, and it's very nice to see. Another thing is that Ecuador is putting a tax charge on tourism businesses. And what they do now is they say, if you assess yourself or certify yourself as a sustainable tourism business, you can actually get the money back from the tax. And that's a very interesting point, because now the businesses have real value behind it. They actually know there's no extra cost behind it. If I behave myself sustainable, get certified, I actually get my tax money back. And that's a very interesting point. I think that's a best practice. We do similar things in the Danube regions, qualifying businesses, but I would like to skip that. We're very proud that we believe that's maybe a good approach, linking the source and the target markets. And we even won a prize, the Ecotrofea Award this year. We're very proud of that. And yes, maybe we might do it again next year. We will see. And a third example I would like to highlight now, because there has been quite a lot of examples in destinations, is an approach about sustainable development in destinations. We have a new certification scheme now for destinations as well. I don't want to bother you with details about that. Maybe three important informations about that. If we talk about sustainable destinations, we have to know what we are talking about. I mean, who are the influencers in a tourism destination? There needs a destination management, and this is a key issue when talking about sustainable destinations. So when we work with destinations, we have to guarantee that there is a strong destination management behind it. The destination management organization is the key player in making the destination more sustainable. So we see the sustainable destination like a house, you know, a house with different pillars to it. There's the destination system, the strategic platform, which guarantees that frameworks are being done. And then there's the DMO. The DMO is the main actor for sustainable tourism in the destination. And the DMO then can organize its businesses, its partners, and develop models, partner models for their businesses. And that's what we demand for sustainable destinations. And that's how we do it actually with our certification. We've been quite successful here. Just to give you an idea, we certified 10 pilot destinations in Germany. You might know that, you know how we Germans work, right? If we do something, we do it, we try to be very detailed. So we had a big pilot phase with more than 50 workshops in the pilot destinations. We involved more than 50 stakeholders, because what we wanted to find out is what are the key issues in the destinations? What do destinations managers actually need? And that's how we developed our certification scheme. I'm very glad to have the opportunity to be here, and thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, all of you. Maybe we can see the conference outcome for some quick questions. I think there are some of them. Okay. Let's have some very quick answers also. Okay. Of course you're going to have the presentations. That's a very tricky question. Not exactly presentations, but some of them. Trails, Fivos. So, Trails initiative produce measurable results regarding sustainability in local communities.
Yes, so this is all about it, actually. It's, as you understand, it is not that easy to measure it because, first of all, the localities are not always easy to, to monitor. Sometimes, if it's not an island, you have people coming in and out and nobody really knows about it. It is not very easy always to identify a hiker if he goes to a hotel. You might not really understand if it's a hiker, if it's somebody who would like to make a hike, but who came for other things, and during a week he also did a hike. So measuring the hikers is not very easy, especially if we're not talking about an island. This morning, I spoke about the example of Kythira Island, where we measured the economic impact of hikers that came in organized groups, because this was very easy to track. So what we did is that we said to the hotels of the island, every time you have a group coming to your hotel, please write down how many people, how many nights, and tell us how much did they spend per person at your hotel. And then we made a model and we managed to measure that for 50,000 euros, and that was the cost of creating the hiking trails network in a length of about 4 years. At the 5th year, the island had an income, a return, let's say, of 1.5 million euros that were spread in different businesses of the area. We have also created a project with the local schools where the kids were walking on the trails of their ancestors, and they were making some drawings. They were trying to see how they could be the guides of older people on these hikes. I also showed you on Sifnos Island the example that I used, which is a new example. We don't yet have a lot of data, monetarized data. All we have is from the people that have downloaded the application so far. And that has already overpassed by 4 times the initial investment to make the trails. But we have also a lot of comments on TripAdvisor that we monitor and we use as examples. And they tell us that local businesses say to the hikers that they're very satisfied by the trails because it extended the touristic season. We have people saying that they're going to come back because of the hikes. And of course, and I will finish with this, we have locals that rediscovered their island, their culture, their nature, because the hikes were well organized. So I think that the qualitative data is there. Sometimes the quantitative data that's difficult to monitor, but overall, we can say that yes, it helps a lot. Sorry for talking.
Yeah, you know, we know you. So you talk a lot, but so let's move to Albert. Albert, take us to the money. Show us the money.
Money. Well,
yeah.
We have 3 important things to offer. First, we have the best and most attractive assessment system that exists in the world. So destinations are going to buy into it, for sure of that. Second, we have a database with so much information that is worth a lot of money, even beyond the tourism sector. Third, we are a partner in the Green Travel Maps, and that is going to make becoming sort of sustainability at the levels of destinations and at the level of businesses and services, making more profitable. So the outcomes are that I expect that we're having a system that can boost sustainability at both levels and actually enable both destinations and the businesses in these destinations that are committed to sustainability make more money. And since we are going to be part of this whole operation, that's why we are going to have benefit in terms of sustainability. That's my number 1. And second, I think it's going to work financially. I'm not worried about that at all.
So you're very sure about that, huh?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So let's ask Vasilis. So why they should pick you, and is there financial?
The bathers or the municipalities?
You can choose.
Okay,
you can choose.
First of all, the bathers, because they know that the pits that are going to visit is managed with a sustainable way. They protect the environment, and they will know everything concerning the beach. The myth of the beach, the name of the beach, what they should look for it, how they are going to go there, what they are going to eat, everything, I mean everything. And why municipality should choose us in order to award their beaches? Because first of all, we can award both organized and not organized beaches, because we have the questionnaire for every beach, so at the end of the year, at the end of the summer, we know exactly the needs of each beach, and we can propose things to do for improve next year, more or less.
Yeah, so you are confident, huh?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, that's great. So final, Martin, tell us something I think it's very difficult or peculiar. You talk about DMO. Tell us about how a DMO is working in below Austria, Germany, with, let's say, the public domain. So how easy is that to create and operate, and how efficient is this?
Actually, we believe if there's no DMO, then we cannot make the tourism destination, or we cannot certify the tourism destination. That's the first step. We need a DMO. Yeah. So, and in Germany, we have a good situation because actually, frankly, there's just too many DMOs already. There's many DMOs covering sometimes the same area, but that's another issue. So we need a DMO, and then the DMO has to spread the idea of sustainable tourism. We have similar approaches that have been set today already. There needs to be a sustainability council, similar to what Albert said. We need the main stakeholders of the destinations sit together and talk about sustainable development of tourism. Otherwise, we cannot talk about destinations. The most important stakeholders have to be together. We call it the Sustainability Council. There needs to be a person which is responsible for sustainable tourism within the DMO, right? And there needs to be a tourism strategy for sustainable tourism development. So these are the main pillars we actually demand, and which I think the DMO is the key partner in actually establishing that.
Have you made it working in the Mediterranean area?
So far, we concentrated on Germany because it was a pilot project in Germany, and right now we are opening it internationally.
Okay. Okay, so I think we have to close. Thank you all for this.
Sorry, because there is a question for me that I think that I should answer. Not how often is being done the audit procedure, these things. The main thing is that every one of you, when you are visiting a beach, you can be the auditor of a Costa Nostrum sustainable beach through our questionnaire. So we examine the beach. We have an audit or an audit 2 or 3 times per summer, but every day, every bather is an auditor for us, because if he or she finds something, he or she can go through our website, through our questionnaire, and send us his problem, the problem, or whatever. So
we are all small auditors.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's the innovation of Costa Nostrum.
Yeah.
We want all of you to participate to our program, and that's why it's called Costa Nostrum, our beach.
I think the same thing was or is with TripAdvisor, but I don't know, let's say the international part.
We have a specific,
I think it's also a way. So thank you all the panelists, thank you all, Fivos, Martin, Vasilis, and Albert for this, and we wish you to have you again. Thank you very much. Just a photo. We have a closure now, don't leave. Randy is going to close the conference, so please, make a photo. Yes. Come. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Take care. Thank you.
Okay, my friends, in the interest of time, I will not be introduced. You've already met me. I have 3 tasks at hand for my closing remarks. First, a few housekeeping issues. The question was asked about access to materials, the presentations, and the answer is yes, indeed, in 2 ways. Could we put on the screen, the home screen for the conference application, please? So on the home screen of the application, there's a section, Shared Material, already has many of the presentations, and then we'll put it on the GSTC website as well. So you have 2 options for downloading presentations here in the app and under Shared Material, and then on the GSTC website starting tomorrow. Secondly, we have on the app also an evaluation for the conference. If you would kindly complete that, it just takes a few minutes. We'd appreciate that very much, an evaluation of the conference. And then third piece of housekeeping is that trying to be as green as possible. We've donated the extra food at lunch. We had the carbon offsets, thank you Green Evolution for that, and we will reuse and recycle the name tag. So on your way out the door, kindly leave the name tag on the table. So we're trying to be as green as we can. So that's it for housekeeping. My second task is to say thank yous, and we don't have enough time for all the thank yous that are necessary, so we have to highlight a few. You've seen the key sponsors. I was so impressed with Kafka's presentation. I thought that was very encouraging too. Kafka's is one of our platinum sponsors for the event. We've been talking for years about wishing hotels would understand that it typically takes only about 2 years to get back your initial investment for cleaner energies in a hotel. And I was so encouraged in that presentation to hear 15 months and 8 months on one of them. Wow, that's fantastic. So technologies are improving. So I think the lesson there is that hotels just don't have many excuses or reasons not to move to greater energy efficiency, because the initial capital investment for improvement is getting shorter and shorter. So I commend Kafkas for the good work they're doing. But all of our sponsors, under the auspices of the organizations here and the sponsors, thank you so much. And of course, the Ioannis front and center here, Ioannis and Ioannis of Green Evolution, from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much. Ioannis Pappas is on our board. Let's a special round of applause for Green Evolution. Ioannis joined our board this year, and wow, if we could get all of our members and board members to push like you've done, wow. And people we haven't thanked, though, is that, we said from the start of the GSTC, I said to some of European members, as many of you realize, we're very low resource. We have very small staff. I said we can only do this if you members and board members help us. And so we had a program committee. Mary Mulvey's already left from Ecotourism Ireland. She's our country representative for Ireland, who moderated one of the sessions. She worked with Ioannis and myself and Susana Conde, our board member from Spain, our country rep for Spain, and Luigi Cabrini and myself worked to put the program together. And so thank you to that group for that support. And thank you, participants, especially those of you still in the room. Congratulations for your tenacity and your passion and your interest. My third duty is that I do want to make a few closing remarks about sustainable tourism. I think if we didn't already have it, we've gained a greater appreciation that sustainable tourism is complex. And I think our main job for those of us working in sustainable tourism is not to get discouraged by complexity and to work to simplify as much as possible. It can be simple, and it's as simple as starting from where you can start. And the idea of continuous improvement, I think, is very essential. And I think the idea of humility and transparency are essential concepts. And when I say humility, it's tied to transparency. We think at GSTC that our criteria are the defining set, the definition for sustainable tourism, that it's broad, it has many elements. When we hear about greenwashing, I often hear maybe a claim of an organization that does one or two things very well, and they ignore all the terrible things that they're doing poorly or not doing. That's a form of greenwashing, right? Putting the attention on the one or two things we do very well. And so that's where the humility and transparency, I think, come together. I think we all have to recognize that there are many things we need to work on the social responsibility side, on environmental protection, wildlife protection, all the different elements of the environmental side. And let's be humble and show humility to recognize that it's not easy to do all those things. So let's celebrate our victories at what we do well, and let's be humble and honest with ourselves about what we're not doing so well, and set goals for ourselves. I think as individuals on the planet, we should have our own goals for our carbon footprint, for example, and other ways of environmental impacts. And I think as organizations, we should do that, where we should really be honest. And let's celebrate what we do well, but let's be honest with ourselves where we need to make improvement, and then strive for improvement. So 3 years from now or 3 months from now, we can then be proud of those accomplishments by working on the things that aren't so strong today. One example of complexity that comes to mind is thinking, I've been traveling to Greece. My first visit to Greece was 1979. My most recent visit was 2009, many times in between. And in my prior life as a tour operator, I did a lot with small ship cruising. And I've always had a fondness for the Greek Isles and small ship cruising. And so I've been giving that particular topic a lot of thought here. And as we had there was some discussion here about small ship cruising versus large ship cruising. And I think this is a very good example of what I'm talking about in terms of being honest with ourselves. There are many of us who have great difficulties with large ship cruising. When you do take 4,000, 5,000, and now 6,000 passengers on a ship, what does that impact when it gets off at a dock to that community? Well, a few people sell a few t-shirts, but how much does the community benefit? So there's much discussed on that topic in the sustainable tourism community. On the other hand, whether you're traveling by land or sea, the lower carbon footprint on carbon emissions comes from higher occupancy. So that 5,000 passenger ship actually has a very low per person holiday making experience of carbon input because there's so many more people on the ship. And so the small ship does very well in social responsibility and authenticity and community engagement, scores very well, but not so well. If it's not a sailboat, it's not doing as well on carbon emissions as the large ship. The point is it's all complex, and so there's benefits to everything. If any of us who are strong environmentalists were king of the world, we might just outlaw a few things that exist in travel and tourism, but we cannot. Market forces drive the products that are out there. Our job as people in working sustainable in tourism is to take what we have that's there. We can't fight whether it exists or not. Our job is to make them all better. And that requires honesty, transparency, and some humility. I mentioned yesterday in my presentation that the entire GSTC framework is based on continuous improvement. And that's a theme I would like us all to never forget and think about always is continuous improvement. In the United Nations system, we hear this term, sustainable consumption and production, and Martin just brought it up with the Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations. Sustainable Development Goal number 12, speaking about responsible consumption and production. Wow, that's kind of technical academic terms, right? Who in the world on the street talks about consumption and production? When I hear consumption, I think marketing. And so even though GSTC framework is one element of marketing, we like to always talk about marketing in general. And that's why we have Dr. Xavier Font and others talking about it in general. It doesn't fit always directly with what the GSTC framework is talking about. But I think when we look at the consumption side, we all have to get much better at marketing. We've got all these different pieces, hotels, transport, aviation, destinations. They all need to figure out their messaging. And I'm telling you, in all sectors, most industries are doing very poorly at messaging and selling sustainability. It's not easy. And so you have to figure it out for each subsector how to message that. So anytime we meet, we're going to have some element of talking about marketing, of just pushing that dialogue further. Part of marketing is product placement, isn't it? Think about the strongest brands of food that you purchase in the supermarket. What have they gotten most successful at in the supermarket from a marketing standpoint? The strongest brands have their product at eye level and reach level. Procter & Gamble, the big American-based multinational, is brilliant at that. They go around the world and they make sure their product is at eye level and reachable level. What we're trying to do with the GSTC framework is to have that sustainable product be available, identified. So we talk about the confidence, but we're also talking about the availability. So this year, when Royal Caribbean Cruise Lines accepted the recommendation of WWF to say that on their global land operations for their shore excursions, by 2019, all of their land excursion operators must be certified to a GSTC certified level, that's making that product available to the consumer. So for all of our challenges to convince the consumer to buy sustainable, which we're all struggling with, Royal Caribbean is just making that product 100% not only available, but required. So we have to work at the marketing from all the angles. Messaging, product placement, availability. And so our part of the GSTC framework is that product placement and availability side. So as we talk about that, we'll also always talk a little bit about messaging, because we all in the entire travel and tourism industry have to get much better at that. So, given all that complexity, we need to collaborate. So it helps from time to time to come face to face, doesn't it? So let's get our carbon offsets purchased for when we fly to places like this. Let's meet occasionally, but most importantly, let's collaborate, whatever form that takes, because we all have to work together. I think a theme that's kind of come through all this is that how do you separate the hotel contribution from the tour operator, from the destinations, from the other travel providers? It's all integrated, isn't it? I think there was some cross themes. So those of us who are practitioners need to collaborate. All of us need to collaborate. I challenge you to be part of the solution of expanding the access to sustainable travel. Be part of the solution. Don't let the complexity or the challenges discourage us. Please engage. Next year, the year 2017, is designated as the International Year of Sustainable Development. Let's give it all of our energy to inspire others and grow the movement. And I invite you to become members of GSTC, engage with us, get online for our newsletter. One final thought I want to share is that I travel the world, and I often say that Europe is really our model in the world. It's interesting when I interact with Europeans in the sustainable tourism community. Honestly, the level of intellectual depth is greater here than anywhere in the world. You're the leaders. As much as you might be struggling with, oh, we could do this so much better, and if they would cooperate, and if they would listen, that's all important discussions to have. But let me tell you, you're at the top of the pyramid in terms of awareness and focus, government regulation, all these things. And I'm spending a huge amount of my own personal time in Asia, because the global middle class is shifting to Asia. Where China goes on the environment, goes the planet. And I often use case studies and inspiration from you in Europe. So I want you to think about that, because as you're making your own destinations better, your own product better in terms of sustainability, you play a very important role in inspiring and informing the entire world. So keep at it, keep raising the bar, and thank you so much for coming. It's been just an absolute pleasure and delight to see the passion and engagement. So thank you for participating. Thank you for working your way on the path. We like to say at GSTC that sustainability is a journey. And so continuous improvement, it's a journey, and we're not going to stop. So thank you very much, and look forward to seeing you again.